Hi, Edward. Really nice to meet you. How are you?
Good, Laura Donna. Very good. How are you?
I'm fine. So thanks for talking to me today, and we're sharing how was your experience with the B2B Prospecting Academy. But before that, I'd like you to take maybe a few minutes to talk about yourself and your business, if possible.
Sure. I live in the UK now. I'm in Earl's Court, but originally, as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm from the States. Originally from a small town in Maine, moved my way down to Manhattan and then Miami. And about 10 years ago, actually 11 years ago, founded Noon Dalton with my business partner, Jahan Noon. We have offices in India, the Philippines, now London, New York, Miami, and Denver. I realized a couple years ago that there was a tremendous amount of opportunity in Europe, and I feel like Europe is more like home now than New York or Miami, which is a little ironic, seeing as I spent so much time there. But the company, we predominantly work with companies that either currently or are looking to create and manage remote teams. So, the traditional sense of outsourcing, but kind of turned on its head a little bit. So oftentimes in the past, people look at outsourcing as just being, I'm going to go hire people in India or the Philippines, but now we look at other regions and other opportunities as well. So we'll develop a program for a client or replicate an existing program where they have administrative activities that could be done in India or customer care activities that would need people on the phone, which we would put them in the Philippines. So again, it's either fast growth companies that are looking to us to help design and evaluate programs and then launch them for them, or working with companies that have existing outsourcing teams that are either looking to expand or potentially relocate their teams to us.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. I was actually very humbled how such experienced people attended the program and they still got good value out of it. So I'm happy that you had this opportunity to basically work on your overall strategy for prospecting and for going after customers and so on. And what were some of the challenges that maybe you overcame by just attending the program?
So I think the challenges would be more on my side than they would be on the B2B network. It's challenging as an entrepreneur wearing many hats. The phone rings and it's someone that's upset because a sale didn't go through, or someone else that's upset because their commission wasn't as big as they expected it, or a client misunderstood something that a staff did. And those are the fires that we have to put out on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of the day, at 6 or 7 o'clock, it's challenging to put the marketing hat on and go in and do a LinkedIn campaign, or to think about the one thing that you're best at as an entrepreneur in an organization. So I think the challenges fall more on myself. An opportunity that came off the back of it, which I was really pleased we were able to move forward with, is we were able to bring my team together and actually launch a program with your organization that is specific for us. So I believed in the process enough to actually bring it internal and replicate it. So I think the challenges again are, as an entrepreneur having a lot going on, sometimes it's challenging to set aside the time necessary to be able to focus on the homework and make sure that you've actually learned all the steps in the process so you can bring it back to your team. Or if you're doing it for yourself, it's a great way to have that required time where you accomplish the objectives of the course.
You mentioned a few times the network, like the B2B network. How was the structure of the group that you joined? How did you relate to the peers in the group?
That's interesting. So when I first joined, some of the people were kind of in the marketing department or in the sales department of organizations, and other people were owners. Some people were part of entrepreneurs organization and some people weren't. I think towards the end, the blend was actually quite nice because people were coming at the situation from different levels. And as an owner of a company, I got to actually think about the way that maybe someone that was in this, on the sales team or someone on my marketing team might be approaching a problem or looking at a situation. So I think that blend was quite nice. Had it all been entrepreneurs, probably would have been good as well. But I think that the mix was really was really nice. It also allowed for some knowledge to be shared up channel from people in a junior position to us as far as the way that we think about things, and then also our experience, we could share it with the rest of the team, the people that own companies versus were employed by companies.
Another thing that I wanted to point out, which was sort of given for you, but not so easy for anybody else, is how much value you provide to your customers. Can you maybe talk a bit about, the whole value concept and the service excellence? I found it really unique how your business does that, sort of, I don't know if accidentally, but definitely intentional, right? And why I'd like you to take this time to present this is that during this program, I facilitate. I see myself as a facilitator rather than a teacher or something. And one thing that I got out of it is a lot of value by your experience shares, right? So I learned together with the group. So can you elaborate a bit about how you add value to your customers, and particularly in the service excellence, which I found it really unique with your business?
Yeah, so I think one of the challenges is that a lot of people look at outsourcing or remote teams or call centers, and it has a negative connotation. For us, it's as important to make sure that our internal clients, which is the people that work for New Dalton, are happy and they have growth and they have learning. Personal development is very important. We've developed an internal university for our staff so that at the end of the tenure that they're with us, they're leaving us a better educated staff than when they arrived. And that's really important for us. What ends up ultimately happening is it takes time to build trust with a client. And once the client starts looking at us as their outsourcing or remote team partner, and they look at us as part of their organization as a separate entity, but we care as much about their work as they would themselves, that's when they see that excellence of our staff shining through. We have several clients in the US and also in Europe that come in with a small project, and then we'll work with each of their department heads and say, listen, what are the things that are challenging? What positions do you have a high turnover in your current, your current structure? Is there positions that you've hired multiple times for the same person over the course of the last year or two? How much time does that take from your HR team? How much time, how many times during your quarterly meetings do you have to have these conversations around junior people that you need to rehire? Looking at a provider like us, yes, we're an extension of your team. Yes, we're more economical, but the work gets done without the stress of your internal team. So the key element being that you can focus on the most important things locally and allow us to focus on the things that are equally as important, but not necessarily revenue driving activities. So, administrative back office support or customer care or chat support. There's hundreds of different things. We have several clients, again, like I said, in the States and now in Europe as well, that we've gone on with a small team, and before you know it, we've got 20, 30, 40 staff that are working with them. And I think we did an analysis of two of our clients recently in the US, one in New York and one in Florida. And we're talking 400, 500,000 in savings when you look at all the expenses that goes into having an office, the lights, the utilities, the computer, the phone, the time off, the benefits, etc. Not to say that people shouldn't hire local staff. I'm encouraging that as well. It's just this creates a more productive workforce that hits your P&L in a different way. So again, as I said in the beginning, unfortunately, there's a lot of companies out there that don't have as much care and don't think about things from a client's point of view. All they care about is, bringing on a bunch of staff and getting the business. But the business doesn't stay if you don't take care of the clients, and that's what our focus is, our internal and external clients.
Thanks for sharing this, and I really sort of see how this lives basically through your organization. So many people would say things like that, but I can feel that this lives through the organization. There's definitely sort of a mirror effect between the way you treat the people in your team and the way the customers get treated. And I've seen this through many service business times and times again. So it's amazing to see how preoccupied you are about the well-being of your staff and how this reflects into the quality of the service. So thanks again for sharing all the information you've generously shared today. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing about your amazing success. And I hope that you'll achieve all your goals for the year and the years to come. Is there anything else you'd like to add in the end?
Yeah, and this isn't anything specific with you or your organization. It's just an experience share that I've realized recently is that it feels like there's two types of business owner out there: the ones that look at things like this as an expense, or the ones that look at things like this as an investment. There's learning elements to it. An interesting segue is we were in one of our calls and the person on your team was saying something, and I'm like, well, don't you guys provide that as a service? Like, why wouldn't you tell us you could do that for us? So I didn't feel like I was ever being sold to. But if you look at these types of opportunities as a way to develop your skills, and it's an investment in your growth and in your learning and your knowledge, then I think that you'll see a tremendous amount of benefit from it. If you just look at it as an expense on your bottom line, then it might not be the right fit for you, because you need to be invested and you need to want to learn these skills for them to be applicable.
Great. Thanks for sharing. Really appreciate your time, and let's hope we will revisit some of these topics in our conversations.
Agreed. Well, thank you very much for your time as well.